A toddler's death under investigation. What we know about the circumstances into his death. Confusion over childcare coverage in the province. Who's eligible for $10 a day daycare? And in search of a treatment, the family of a boy with a rare illness looks for answers on his condition.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight in Prince Albert, where multiple agencies are now involved with the investigation into the death of a toddler earlier this week. Jasmine Pelche reports on what we know so far.
Investigation is ongoing into the death of a 3-year-old boy that occurred in Prince Albert. On Tuesday, Prince Albert police were called to the 900 block of 2nd Street East around 7 p.m. for a 3-year-old boy who was reported to be unconscious and non-breathing. This video of 3 officers running through the snow was shared by a neighbor who says she saw police respond to the Village Green housing complex the evening of the incident. She says she was alerted to police presence by the sound of sirens. The neighbor says shortly after the video was taken, she saw a small child who appeared to be unconscious being carried from the unit to a waiting ambulance. Police confirmed there were no other calls to the 900 block of 2nd Street East that evening. Police say the toddler was transported to Victoria Hospital, where he later passed away. The Prince Albert Police Service Major Crimes Unit and Forensic Identification Section are investigating the death, along with the Saskatchewan Coroner's Service. An autopsy was completed Wednesday. Police say updates will be provided as the investigation continues. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
An inmate who escaped custody in Prince Albert 2 weeks ago is back behind bars. 30-year-old Keaston Custer escaped while being transported by staff from Saskatchewan Penitentiary on February 20th. He was arrested last night by Prince Albert police. Custer is serving a 10-year sentence for manslaughter as well as offenses related to weapons, rioting, and having stolen items. The Correctional Service of Canada and the Pen are investigating the circumstances around his escape. Meanwhile, Prince Albert police are looking for this inmate who was released by mistake from the Prince Albert Correctional Center. Dagan McKenzie has been unaccounted for since yesterday. Anyone who knows where he is should contact police. RCMP have laid charges against a youth in connection to yesterday's incident at a Balgony school and have determined a vehicle was shot at. Police were called to Greenall School after someone driving on the Trans-Canada Highway reported seeing a person with a gun in a vehicle near the school. The investigation has determined a shot was fired toward a vehicle yesterday morning. Officers seized 3 BB-style long guns and arrested 2 students. One has been charged with possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, careless use of a firearm, and mischief under $5,000. He will make his first court appearance next month. A traffic stop northwest of Saskatoon turned into a major tobacco seizure. This is what Corman Park police seized last night near Highway 16 and Dalmany Road. Just before 9 o'clock, officers noticed a pickup truck with one working headlight traveling 100 kilometers in 80-kilometer zone. Inside the truck, police found 100,000 illicit cigarettes worth between $20,000 and $40,000. The 65-year-old driver, who appeared to be impaired by drugs, was given a roadside saliva test. He has been charged with having unstamped tobacco for the purpose of selling it. He also received a 3-day suspension of his driver's license for failing the drug test, and he was given an offense notice for speeding. The cause of a garage fire in the Meadow Green neighborhood is under investigation tonight. This was the scene at about 9:30 in the 3000 block of 20th Street West. Smoke was billowing from the detached garage as crews battled the flames. Everyone was able to get out of the garage safely with no injuries reported. An investigator will now try to determine the cause, the damage, and where it started. Jeff, I feel like you could actually feel things warming up today.
You could. It was a relatively warm day, and I say relatively because it wasn't warmer than seasonal. It was still below seasonal temperatures, but certainly warmer conditions are certainly in the mix as we make our way into tomorrow and the next day. What's interesting, and we're keeping our eye on this system as it moves through, and the big deal of the day is that we've had some travel not recommended issues down south. Those have been removed, so things are looking good in that respect, and so are the temperatures if you like warmer temperatures, and we'll talk about that later.
Parents and daycare operators across the province are scrambling to come to grips with a new rule excluding some 6-year-olds from subsidized childcare. Keenan Sorokon has more on the fine print to Saskatchewan's childcare deal.
Amber Fox runs Early Bird Daycare in Warman, where an end-of-day email on Monday told her 6-year-olds at the daycare won't be covered under the $10 a day program unless they turn 6 after April 1st.
Which is kind of a slap in the face for parents. I have a family. Their child is turning 6 on March 23rd. And so he will not be eligible for the $10 a day program anymore because he was born a week prior to their deadline.
As part of the province's extended agreement with the federal government announced in November, eligibility expanded from 5 to 6-year-olds. But now daycares are having to call affected families and say they will have to pay the full price. Education Minister Everett Hindley dodged questions from reporters at the legislature this morning about why more notice wasn't given, but says children not yet 6 years old can't be covered because it would break the current agreement with Ottawa.
The new agreement takes effect on April 1st. I wouldn't say it's an oversight. I would say when our officials were negotiating with their federal counterparts, this is what we were able to achieve.
The Saskatchewan NDP disagrees. Leader Carla Beck says the province didn't understand the deal it signed and was caught off guard.
You know, this might not seem like a big deal to this government. As I said, it's another example of, they say, oops, and it's Saskatchewan people who pay for it. This is a huge deal to those families.
The biggest concern for Fox is the lack of notice. She says strict regulations means she has to provide parents with at least 1 month's notice for any fee increases. But with less than 1 month until this change takes effect, she fears she will not be in compliance with her own agreement, forcing families to unexpectedly pay 4 times more than originally anticipated. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The parents of a 2.5-year-old Saskatoon boy are working to fund research into his rare genetic condition. As CTV's Stacey Hine tells us, the family has launched a foundation and is hosting its first fundraiser later this month to support the search for potential treatments.
This is 2.5-year-old Sam. Before his first birthday, he was diagnosed with MEF2C haploinsufficiency syndrome, a rare genetic condition that causes severe developmental delays, seizures, and other serious health challenges.
The days and weeks following the diagnosis, it was a pretty dark cloud over our family. So a lot of tears, a lot of sort of reorienting to what we thought life was going to be like, to what this new life would be like.
Sam now sees about 7 pediatric specialists and has regular medical appointments. His parents, Chris Kaninsky and Erin Kindrachuk, both work full-time and depend on friends and family for support.
Anybody who's a parent knows it really does take a village, but that expression takes on a really whole new meaning when you're parenting a kid with rare disease.
While caring for 3 children, Sam's parents also began searching for answers. After speaking with researchers and geneticists, they learned new treatments, including gene therapy, are showing promise for some rare genetic conditions.
And that led us to creating a foundation, that led us to initiating some research, and in the hopes that a drug can be developed to help Sam and kids like him.
They launched the MEF2C Family Foundation Canada in the fall of 2024 and partnered with a leading U.S. gene therapy expert to develop potential treatments for children with the condition. To support that research, the foundation is hosting its first fundraiser, the Pure Imagine Nation Benefit, at TCU Place on March 28th.
Our goal is to raise awareness for rare disease, for MEF2C, and to fundraise specifically for research.
The family says advocating for rare disease research isn't easy, and that much of the progress being made is driven by parents pushing for answers for their children. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The rate increase at SaskPower is in the spotlight again. Rural leaders are joining the debate that is returning to the legislature. Donovan Mace explains.
Saskatchewan rural municipalities are adding their voice of opposition to recent SaskPower rate hikes.
We have no choice. We need power.
SARM penning a letter to the rate review panel saying the near 4% increase, which went into effect in February, has a disproportionate cost impact on farms, urging the panel to require SaskPower to fully examine and implement non-revenue-based strategies before approving further rate increases that would place additional burdens on farms, ag operations, and local RMs.
We need to keep our costs down somehow, and there's more power being demanded every day, and we're using more, and we're hopeful that prices can remain more stable.
It comes the day an NDP motion sets to launch debate to reverse the hike, introducing what's known as the Lower Power Bills and Car Insurance Act.
The Premier stood in the Assembly, where you are supposed to tell the truth, and said on December 4th that there would be no power rate increases.
How much is the Premier going to hike power rates to pay for this?
There's no discussion on this side of the House with respect to hiking power rates.
The opposition says the Premier has now broken that promise.
People in industry across Saskatchewan heard that, only to see less than 30 days later a rate increase come.
The province defending the increases, saying it supports record investments into strengthening SaskPower's grid.
We're going to continue to make those investments, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that the people of this province have the power they need.
While SARM agrees with that investment, Huber is looking for a balance.
Power bills are going to go up, their heating bills are going to get higher, and they're going to need more wages and increase in salaries.
The Lower Power Bills and Car Insurance Act is expected to be in front of the Assembly again for debate next week. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan's Minister of Trade and Export Development says China dropping or lowering tariffs on Canadian cola, meal, and canola seed is already having an impact.
Prices are up, and what we understand is that shipments are on their way. So I think that's very positive news for our canola producers, for both inventory and for new crop planting now, too.
Ottawa confirmed yesterday China is following through on commitments made during a trade mission in January that included Premier Scott Moe. Federal estimates say lower canola seed tariffs will improve market access for approximately $4 billion in annual Canadian exports. Meanwhile, the Premier is returning from a separate trade trip to India.
I can't comment as to how, if there is any progress in reducing those tariffs, but I certainly expect everyone there heard from our Premier and certainly from our trade offices as to how important reducing these tariffs or certainly getting to a tariff-free environment would be to support our pulse industry here at home.
Before his departure, the Premier was managing expectations on the possibility of India dropping its 30% tariff on Canadian yellow peas. Those remain in effect as India tries to curb cheaper imports to support domestic farmers, but Saskatchewan has committed to exploring a potential pulse research facility in India. At the federal level, Ottawa is reportedly exploring a future Canada-India free trade deal. The province and SARM are putting more than $46 million into road, bridge, and culvert projects in rural Saskatchewan. The government says it will commit $16.9 million to 41 approved projects through its Rural Integrated Roads for Growth program. RMs will front the remaining $29 million. The key goal is improving transportation access in rural areas, especially for agricultural goods. The provincial program contributes up to 50% per project to a maximum of $500,000 for a road and $1 million for a large culvert or bridge. Project approval is overseen by both SARM and the Ministry of Highways. The provincial government says staff at its Dubai trade office have been advised to work from home amid uncertainty surrounding the conflict in Iran. The Minister of Trade and Export Development says the managing director of the office was at the Toronto conference when the conflict began, and he is being encouraged to stay in Canada for now. Other ministry support staff who are Dubai locals are being asked to work from home. The trade office is embedded within the Global Affairs Canada office there. The The province says it has been working closely with them to understand the concerns and risks in the area. Business leaders gathered today to learn more about artificial intelligence and Saskatchewan's business landscape. Innovation Place played host to guest speakers on AI today. It was a chance to discuss the latest in data center technology in the province and the economic opportunities it can bring for business owners. Saskatchewan could also be uniquely positioned to be home to AI data centers because of the colder climate, which can help data centers with climate control.
Saskatchewan's home to numerous data centers already with SaskTel as a provider, but obviously there's been a lot of interest across Canada, Western Canada, specifically Alberta, around how to attract data centers, how to attract that investment.
Fallon says one of the big challenges for businesses is keeping up with how fast AI is changing and how to implement it to increase efficiency and be more productive. Well, someone in Saskatchewan woke up a millionaire today. A ticket for last night's Lotto 649 draw worth $2.5 million was purchased somewhere in Saskatchewan. No word where the ticket was bought. The winning numbers, in case you're curious, are 2, 18, 30, 39, 40, and 44. If those are your numbers, you have 1 year to claim your prize. Still to come, the latest on the war in the Middle East, the attacks and the retaliation, as well as the political posturing because of it. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. As the war in the Middle East widens and lengthens, the U.S. and Israel hit deeper into Iran. It comes as U.S. President Donald Trump says he must be involved in picking Iran's new leader. And Canadians are in the region and hearing about a way out. Adrian Gobriel is near the NATO airbase in Turkey that was targeted by Iran.
The screams of young children can be heard as one of 2 Iranian drones slams into the ground near a school. A second hitting this airport terminal. Azerbaijan's president has vowed to crush Iran with an iron fist after he says 4 drones were fired into his country. Iran has denied any connection to the attacks, instead blaming Israel.
Iran is exporting the war, trying to expand it to as many countries as they can to sow chaos.
In Tehran, an ever-intensifying onslaught from above rocked the city for a 6th straight day, where more than 1,000 people are now said to be dead. In parts of Beirut, concrete carnage where neighborhoods once stood. Traffic jams now line the streets with panicked civilians after the Israeli military ordered the evacuation of hundreds of thousands from the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital city. This all comes as confirmation from Rome today that Italy is sending air defense systems to the Gulf. Spain also announcing it's sending its Christopher Columbus frigate to Cyprus to join a French aircraft carrier and Greek naval ships. Great Britain now has 4 fighter jets en route to Qatar. With each passing day, more NATO members are being drawn in.
It's affecting us. It's affecting the entire globe. This is a global conflict.
CTV News is currently stationed near the Incirlik Air Force Base in the southern Turkish city of Adana, along the eastern Mediterranean, where Turkish and U.S. NATO air forces have been stationed for decades. Just yesterday off the coast of the NATO base, an Iranian ballistic missile was shot out of the sky by NATO forces as it entered Turkish airspace. While Iran has denied targeting Turkey, one former NATO commander says he has little doubt about the aim of that Iranian missile.
They're going after that airbase by design. Ballistic missiles are aimed. They know what the flight path is. These Shahed drones are aimed. They know what the flight paths are. This does not happen by mistake.
And make no mistake, this is now a conflict forcing the hand of several NATO nations across the globe. The multiple drone strikes on Azerbaijan makes this the 12th country to accuse Iran of firing deadly warheads in their direction since this war began. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Adana, Turkey.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is defending his decision to launch airstrikes against Iran as lawmakers in Congress tried once again to limit the president's war powers. With more, here is Joy Malbin in Washington.
In new defense video, U.S. airstrikes target and attack missile launchers inside Iran, hunting a vast military arsenal of drones and missiles and destroying their ability to attack. The president argues he had to hit now, or Iran would have developed a nuclear weapon.
When crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen.
Though the president says his goal was not about regime change, he shockingly declared he must be personally involved in selecting Iran's next leader. And he's not keen on the assassinated leader's son. Khamenei's son is a lightweight, Trump said. I have to be involved in the appointment. We want someone that will bring harmony and peace to Iran. Trump wants a smooth transition, much like the swift capture of Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro. But the Iran war is facing political backlash. Polls show a majority of voters disapprove of Trump's war.
The administration made mistakes in not preparing the American public for this. Not that they had to discuss anything about operational details, but I think requires months of explanation to justify this kind of activity.
And it's not just conflicting explanations. Democrats on Capitol Hill tried again to restrict the president's military actions in Iran, but it's unlikely to pass.
You send American men and women into war with a high likelihood of them dying based on Donald Trump's feeling? That's insanity.
And with no fixed end date in sight, so far this war has cost the U.S. an estimated $3.7 billion and claimed numerous lives. And this is just day 6. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
The Prime Minister is not ruling out participation in the U.S.-led war on Iran. Mark Carney has not called for military intervention, but the Canadian Armed Forces is working on contingency plans. Judy Trin reports on the preparations.
As the war in Iran escalates, the Prime Minister has not ruled out military participation.
One can never categorically rule out participation. We will stand by our allies when it makes sense. There's a distinction between the offensive actions that were taken and are being taken by the United States and Israel, that were taken by them without consultation with Canada, with other allies.
For now, the Canadian Armed Forces is focused on keeping 200 members out of the line of fire.
We've been focused on the force protection of our people, which means dispersing and staying in locations if the force protection is acceptable. In some cases, relocating them to a different country in the region, or in some other cases, redeploying them to Canada.
So far, about 20 personnel have returned to Canada. The federal government has not yet requested help in extracting citizens from the danger zone, but the military says it is preparing contingency plans.
We are in the process of deploying 6 people as liaison officers to make sure that we're prepared should such a request come in, but we do not have any such request yet, nor have we moved major assets like ships or airplanes.
In Canada, there is support for toppling the Iranian regime, but both the U.S. and Israel began bombing without engaging the United Nations or its allies.
It should be up to Parliament itself to say yay or nay on whether or not we're ever going to be deploying our troops into a conflict.
The military is preparing for all possible outcomes, but at this moment, they have not been asked by the government to join Operation Epic Fury, nor have they been asked to help with civilian evacuations. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Canadian soccer icon paid a visit to Saskatchewan today. She was among the keynote speakers talking to a crowd inspired by her success. Jacob Carr explains.
An impressive lineup of keynote speakers at the Inspiring Leadership Forum, including Canadian women's soccer icon Christine Sinclair.
The more you can get out and try to inspire people, the better. And
especially going across Canada. There's so much more to this country than just Vancouver and Toronto, for instance. So it's nice to get to different parts of the country to share our stories and, yeah, hopefully inspire some people in the crowd.
While Sinclair was looking to inspire the crowd, little did she know that 2 of her biggest supporters would drop in looking for an autograph from one of their heroes.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're really big fans.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I've seen her so many times in the shows and like playing soccer, and it was just so cool getting to meet her.
For you?
I really look up to her when I play soccer, and I want to be just like her when I grow up, and it was super cool to be able to meet her in person.
As a champion of growing not only the women's soccer game in North America, but all women's sports, Sinclair says she is happy to see leagues like the National Women's Soccer League and the Professional Women's Hockey League pick up steam in recent years.
My entire career, we were saying, you know, if you put women on TV, if you put them in venues that people can access, people will come watch and people will tune in. And I think what you've seen over the past 5 years, for instance, that's the case.
Adding that while North American women's sports are on the upswing, more changes are still needed, such as improvement to outdated facilities and stadiums. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
I'm Sarah on behalf of Warman Ultimate Cheerleading. 1, 2, 3, turn, 5, 6, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1. So, Jeff, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, things are looking very good for the Warman Cheer Classic. It's underway tomorrow, so thank you for reminding us there, and best of luck in the competition, the event. Let's take a look at what's going to be going on tomorrow. So things get underway 4:30 tomorrow at the Communiplex in Warman, and looking pretty good. 1 degree, cloudy skies. So 4:30 is when things get underway tomorrow night, and then on Saturday they start at 8:30 in the morning. I believe it goes until 10 at night, and 8:30 until, I'm not sure exactly what they end. Wait, it's right here. Oh my goodness, it ends at 7 o'clock on Sunday. And just listen to these numbers. 210 teams, 3,300 athletes and coaches, over 5,000 spectators, and all kinds of volunteers. So this is a huge event, quite likely the biggest one of its kind in Western Canada. But you can check that out on the weekend in Warman, because the weather looks like it's going to be pretty nice. Here's what it was like, this is what it is like right now. -9 in Saskatoon and the Battlefords. Lots of sunshine in the Battlefords. -11 in Prince Albert. And the winds not particularly strong. And here's what it was like earlier today. We'll take a look at this. -9, so it's still 5 degrees below seasonal. 9 on the plus side was the record warm temperature. That was from 1987. The record cold temperature still standing from 1943. That was -36. And the sun is going to go down just before 7.
Coming up, Jeff returns for a check on your entertainment options, and later, quite the collection. A man who is sharing his love for music with others.
Saskatchewan's largest cheer and dance competition is back. Friday on Your Morning, we are teeing up the Warman Cheer Classic as dozens of athletes descend upon the community.
All right, time to take a look through the live lens of Skycam, and things are looking actually pretty pleasant right now. You get a little bit of a drift off the exhaust coming out of some of the downtown buildings, so you know, a light wind out there. And right now, partly cloudy skies. I know we had a dusting of snow earlier today. Had to shovel a couple of times, but it's not like it was heavy shoveling. But we did have some situations with regard to travel not recommended down in southern Saskatchewan. There are still, I misspoke earlier on, just west of Swift Current, there are still some small rural highways that are dealing with some travel not recommended issues because some freezing rain went through the area. So that system is moving out of the area. We're going to take a closer look on the Futurecast moments from now. So -9, just to recap, in Saskatoon, the Battlefords, more sunshine in the Battlefords, cloudy skies in Prince Albert, -11 degrees. The hot spot in the province, that was East End at 0 degrees. Collins Bay, the cold spot at -27. What a change, considering yesterday's cold spot was Stony Rabbit Rapids at minus 45. So, yeah, a big change there as the warmer air starts to move in. Or really, it's the cold air that's retreating. Minus 6 degrees in Lloydminster, minus 7 in Swift Current right now, minus 10 in the Queen City, minus 13 in Yorkton, and minus 11 in Estevan. Into central parts of the province, as you can see, temperatures ranging from minus 5 in Kindersley and Rosetown down to minus 12. That's in Nipawin. A lot of locations hanging around that minus 10 or minus 11 degree mark. Up north, temperatures not too bad. Manageable, shall we say, and I just did. Minus 15 in Collins Bay, a number of locations closer to that minus 13 degree mark. It's minus 7 right now in Buffalo Narrows. Down south, no one is on the plus side of the thermometer, at least on this part of our map. Minus 3 degrees in East End, minus 6 in Assiniboia, Leader and Assiniboia, but it does get up to, down to rather, minus 13. That's in Melville. It's minus 12 in Carlisle, minus 11 in a number of other locations. Our futurecast indicating that, yes, that heavier system of snow is moving through Manitoba into Ontario. A little something sliding through Saskatchewan as we make our way into the next 24 hours. Part of that snowfall will hit the Buffalo Narrows and Key Lake area, so it's more like flurries. Minus 6 in Buffalo Narrows, minus 12 in Key Lake, minus 19 in Stony Rapids, 1 degree in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, 5 in Kindersley, 4 in Rosetown, a chance of flurries in Spiritwood. Mix of sky conditions in the southwest, temperatures on the plus side, 8 in Maple Creek, 7 in Leader and Swift Current, 3 in Outlook. Into east central Saskatchewan, temperatures relatively mild, 1 in Regina, 4 in Moose Jaw, 0 in Estevan, minus 3 in Yorkton, and temperatures hanging around minus 1 degree for east central Saskatchewan under cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy for the Battlefords, minus 12, 2 degrees tomorrow with a 40% chance of flurries, and staying mild through the weekend, a chance of showers. That's right, showers on Sunday. Temperatures of minus 4 to kick off the work week. Prince Albert's overnight temperature, minus 13 degrees, minus 1 tomorrow, with a chance of flurries overnight into tomorrow, overnight, and then it clears off tomorrow. Cloudy skies on Friday, 6 on Saturday. Sunday, a mix of rain and snow and 1 degree, and temperatures hanging around minus 8 for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature dropping down to minus 12 degrees. Partly cloudy conditions tomorrow. On the plus side at 1 degree, winds from the southwest at 20. Mild weekend in store. A chance of some showers on Sunday. Minus 5 to start the work week.
Follow my heart and it led me to you. The weight of the world left me black and blue.
Eric Kane brings his Love is a Weapon Part 2 tour to Art Bar on Friday evening. Saturday night, Art Bar welcomes Ukrainian stand-up comic Yuri Kolotylin, and Tuesday, it's clean stand-up comedy courtesy The Comedy Pit.
This isn't how it was supposed to be. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
You still have a few more chances to take in the ensemble drama The Boat, the current offering in the Live 5 independent professional theater series. This timely play runs until Sunday at the Refinery. Friday night, the Bromantics bring the music of the 1950s and 60s to the Broadway Theater. Principal bassoonist Stephanie Uverect is the featured performer as the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra presents Spring Fever, Saturday, 7:30 at TCU Place. Saturday night, the Capitol Music Club welcomes David Bowie times The Great Fuss. Doors open at 7.
My name is Biff Naked. I'm a singer.
Punk rocker, author, trailblazer, Biff Naked is coming back to Saskatoon. It's kind of a twofer, a screening of a documentary about her and an acoustic performance. That's Monday, 7 o'clock at the Broadway.
Oh no, dads are fighting again.
Married comedy duo Darcy and Jer bring their Average at Best comedy tour to TCU Place on Wednesday. Showtime is 8 o'clock. Juno winner Michael Casehammer returns to Saskatoon and will be live on stage at the Basement for 2 nights, Thursday, March 12th and Friday, March 13th.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. How many do you have today?
Well, we have 3 today. We just have the 3 today. And we're going to start off with, you guessed it, Sundog, yes. We had a number of these, and I haven't shown one for a couple of days, so why not? This is from Bradley, and Bradley says, sunset in Saskatoon from the Willow Grove area, February 22nd. So there you go, a little bit of sundog just behind the homes there. The next one from Tommy, it's titled Free Fishing Weekend. So yes, this was from a few weeks ago, and with the warm temperatures, I'm guessing ice fishing season is winding down. Officially, I believe it ends on end of March for South and Central Saskatchewan. Up north, it's April 15th. So that's still a great-looking site there. So thank you, Tommy. And finally, from Larry, even our dog Winchester enjoys a good sunset near Langham. All right, there's a good boy enjoying that view. So thank you for sharing that image. And if you'd like to share an image with us, please send it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put pick of the day in the subject line and give us a full name, first and last name, to use in the photo credit.
Still to come on CTV News, on record, the Calgary man with quite the music collection that he is sharing with others. A Calgary collector has turned his private archive of vinyl records and record players into a public museum. CTV's Kevin Green got a first-hand look at the artifacts, which showcase a unique part of Canada's music history.
Ken Murphy started collecting records as a child after his father brought home a Beatles album.
Some say it's a life misspent. I prefer to think it's a life full of passion.
It sparked a lifelong obsession with collecting and archiving artifacts and recorded music, which Murphy has now turned into a public gallery.
About 15 years ago, I realized that I had reached a critical mass in my collection, and there were patterns in my collection that needed to be explored.
The Vinyl-Centric Gallery's first exhibit, called Phonosphere, covers the period from 1948, when vinyl LPs debuted, to 1978. The exhibit showcases historic Canadian-made record players and offers a glimpse into the culture of the time.
Most record players were purchased during this era were purchased in appliance and furniture stores, not stereo stores or audio stores. And Mum was in charge of that process because we were buying furniture and it had to fit into her decor.
The museum highlights the birth and growth of Canada's recorded music scene, which until the early 1960s was almost non-existent. The Vinyl-Centric Gallery and Archive is also digitizing Murphy's over 100,000 record collection of vinyl LPs.
I figure I'll be scanning for about 5 years, 5 days a week. I usually get in about 8 o'clock in the morning, I scan till 3 or 4.
A visit to the museum features a curated background soundtrack of Motown, funk, disco, and rap. Murphy says he plans to add listening booths in a future phase. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
When we come back, help for the Huskies, the recipe for their on-ice success. And later, your chance to play the part of the Riders mascot.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at the rural forecast for Friday, and the temperatures are certainly warmer than seasonal in many locations. And as you can see, the possibility of some flurries is out there, but warm temperatures without question are the big deal of the day. Look at that, even in Hudson Bay, where it's usually on the cold side, -1. That's pretty good for this time of year. -2 in Melfort and Wynyard. Everyone else on this part of our map at or above 0 degrees. Kindersley, 5 degrees tomorrow. And then as we look down south, temperatures warm up to 8 in Maple Creek. A bit more sunshine down in south central and southwestern Saskatchewan. A bit more cloud cover as we make our way eastward. But even then, temperatures, yeah, they drop off, but they're below season, they're above seasonal values. So now let's take a closer look at Central Butte. Partly cloudy skies, 4 degrees, winds out of the west at 15, and later in the month, there's going to be a big Texas Hold'em tournament going on in Central Butte. And Central Butte is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Saskatoon Mamba have announced who is taking over as head coach. Isaiah Fox started his coaching career in 2016, eventually working with the Los Angeles Lakers. Last year, he was associate head coach of the Utah Jazz farm team, the Salt Lake City Stars in the NBA G League. Fox has also won 2 NBA G League Winter Showcase championships, as well as a G League championship. Earlier this year, the Saskatoon Rattlers were bought by new owners and rebranded as the Saskatoon Mamba. This EBL season begins May 14th. It was the play that got many views on social media and helped get the Huskies men's hockey team to the conference finals for the second straight year. As Matt Young reports, the Huskies have had a lot of help from a number of former Blades and a goaltender showing his skills between the pipes.
Cross seam, there's the shot, Thorpe, oh, what a save!
It was certainly the save of the series, and some are calling it the save of the year for the Huskies. An unbelievable stop by Nolan Meyer in the final minutes of Game 1 against UBC.
They were doing everything to put the puck in the net, and then it squirted out past to the weak side. I was able to slide over and make a glove save, so it was pretty fortunate to get that one.
The clip racking up nearly 17,000 views on X alone, though Meyer says social media attention is not the main goal.
I'm just happy the team won, and it's exciting for us to get that first win, to have some momentum going into the second one.
It was a good shot, but Nolan he's shown every game he's just in there battling for us, and he just pushed across and made unbelievable saves, so it was fantastic.
So far in the postseason, Nolan Meyer leads the Canada West Conference in almost every goalie stat. The top player, Connor Roulette, with the most goals and points. 2 former Saskatoon Blades now helping lead the Huskies to the conference finals.
Buddy's even playing with Chase Berthlet in Spokane, and some guys throughout like minor hockey and stuff like that, and just able to connect with them again, and it's been good. Like I said, we were really tight in a group.
It's pretty special. I'm able to play some hockey with some old teammates of mine in the Blades, so it's really cool for me.
Familiar players and a familiar scene for the Huskies, once again in the Canada West Championship for the second year in a row, hoping to defend their title win from last season against the same team from Mount Royal.
I feel like in the postseason we've gotten better every week here, so we're on the upswing here for sure, and we've got a veteran group that's been there before and knows how to win, so I feel real confident going into this series.
Game 1 of the Canada West Men's Hockey Championship goes Friday night in Calgary. Matt Young, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The tech sector is bracing for more layoffs. Marilla Fernandez has more.
Bloomberg is reporting that Oracle plans to cut thousands of jobs. The company faces a cash crunch in part because of how much it's spending to build data centers. Oracle is an IT company that has over 160,000 employees around the world. The company isn't commenting on the report. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.16. West Texas Intermediate is up close to $5 at 79.43. Western Canadian Select is down to 60.39. And the TSX lost another 332 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up, more Canadian talent headed to Saskatchewan this summer. Then, if you think you have the talent to play the part of a popular gopher.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
911 Nashville. Wow, fire alarms are going off. The dancers at Printer's Alley are way too hot.
Don't give it all away. People still want to watch.
That's tonight's episode. There you go.
Well, some Canadian talent will grace the stage at an annual music festival in southern Saskatchewan this summer. Sam Roberts will be Friday's headliner for the Gateway Music Festival in Bangor with songs like Brother Down and Where Have All the Good People Gone. On the Saturday, 80s rock group Glass Tiger will be performing with songs like Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. This year's festival will take place on July 24th and 25th. You don't need to sing it. It's okay.
Why do you think I might?
Because you were nodding and mouthing the words.
I might have been.
All right, before we go, do you think you have what it takes to be the next Gainer the Gopher?
No, I don't. I know people who have had that job, and it's tough.
Yeah, I imagine. But anybody out there who wants to do just that, here's your chance. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are looking for someone to take up the mantle of the province's most iconic mascot. Energy, personality, and enthusiasm, all considered assets. Those interested who live in Saskatchewan and are 18 or older can apply. Candidates need to submit a 3 to 5 minute audition video of how they would approach the job. Probably being a Rider fan also a prerequisite.
I would love to see these audition tapes.
Well, maybe they'll release them.
Well, they might.
Maybe I'll send one in of you.
No. You know, you can handle this on your own. I know it's your dream to be the first female Gainer. I shouldn't say first because I don't know. But yes, you could aspire.
How did you know that? I haven't shared that with anybody.
Okay, sure. Okay.
My aspirations.
Yes, I would say.
That's right. Reading my diary?
It's like that David Gates song, right? Today I found your diary.
You can't sing if you're Gainer. You can't even speak, Jeff. Thanks for watching.